A strange signal from the stars in the year 2094, Earth had changed. People now lived in floating cities, and most jobs were done by machines. Space travel was normal, but still limited to nearby planets. Most humans believed they were alone in the universe. But not Ethan. Ethan Gray was a smart but quiet scientist. He worked alone on a small research station that orbited Mars. People called him the silent genius because he didn't talk much but always solved problems others couldn't. One night, while checking his signal scanner, Ethan saw something strange. A signal, weak, broken, and repeating, was coming from deep space. The pattern didn't match any human satellite or ship. It was not natural either. He sat up straight. "This is not from Earth," he whispered. He ran the signal through his decoder. The message became clearer. "Help us. Reactor failing. Life in danger." His eyes widened. The voice in the message was not human. It was high-pitched, digital, and echoed strangely. It sounded alien. Ethan sent the signal to the Earth Space Council. He wrote a full report and explained everything. Then he waited. No reply. 3 days passed. Finally, a message came from the council. They laughed. "Good imagination, Ethan. Probably just a signal echo or space dust." They didn't believe him. Ethan felt angry. "Why won't they listen?" he said to himself. He played the message again. He could hear fear in the voice. Someone or something was begging for help. He made a choice. He would go alone. Ethan prepared his small ship, the Nova Spark. It was built for short trips, not deep space, but he upgraded it himself over the years. He packed food, tools, oxygen tanks, and one very old photo of his dog, Max. Before leaving, he sent one last message to Earth. "I'm following the signal. If I don't return, tell my sister I tried." The stars stretched as his ship jumped into the wormhole he had calculated from the signal's location. Lights twisted around him. His body shook, but he stayed focused. After a few minutes, everything became quiet. Then, bang. His ship jolted. Alarms screamed. Power dropped by 30%. Outside, he saw it. A giant alien space station floated ahead. It was the size of a small moon, covered in metal panels and glowing tubes. But something was wrong. The lights were blinking and parts of the station looked broken. Ethan's ship got pulled in by a tractor beam. He tried to control it, but the ship moved on its own. He landed inside a large hangar. No guards, no welcome, only silence. He stepped out wearing his spacesuit. The air was thin and the gravity felt strange. He walked carefully, holding his scanner. Suddenly, a loud crash came from the hallway. He turned fast. A creature crawled out of the shadows. It was tall with silver skin and 4 arms. It wore a torn uniform and had a glowing device on its neck. Ethan froze. The alien looked at him. Then it spoke through the translator device. "You... human? You came... to help?" Ethan nodded. "Yes, I got your signal." The alien fell to its knees. "Reactor. Failing. Explosion soon. All will die. How much time do you have?" 20 minutes, the alien said weakly. Ethan didn't waste time. He asked for directions and ran toward the reactor core. The halls were dark, filled with smoke. Strange alien signs were on the walls, but he focused on numbers and symbols. Math, something that didn't change in the universe. He reached the reactor room. What he saw made his heart race. Giant tubes were leaking energy. Blue plasma spun wildly in the center. Alarms flashed red. He could see the core control panel, but it was covered in alien symbols. Ethan looked around. He saw tools, wires, a console with formulas. He whispered to himself, "Okay, time to be brilliant." He started working. He linked the formulas to Earth numbers. The power was too high. He needed to slow it down. He opened a panel and used a wire to reset a system. He checked his time. 15 minutes left. One mistake and the whole place could explode. Outside the room, more aliens were watching through a screen. Their eyes were wide with fear and hope. Ethan worked fast. Sweat ran down his face. He typed commands, ran calculations, and adjusted settings using his own tools. 10 minutes left. Suddenly, a small blast hit near him. A pipe burst. Fire spread on the wall. He grabbed a metal plate and used it to block the flames. He kept going. Come on, he said, 5 minutes. He found the overload valve and closed it just in time. The spinning plasma slowed. Lights turned from red to green. Everything stopped. Silence. Then a calm voice from the station system spoke. Core stable. Outside, the aliens cheered. Ethan dropped to his knees, tired but smiling. Then, everything went black. The alien reactor. Meltdown darkness. Ethan's eyes slowly opened. His body ached. His head spun. For a moment, he couldn't remember where he was. Then it all came back. The alien signal, the dying space station, the reactor core, the explosion he had just stopped. He was lying in a strange room. Soft lights above him glowed green. The bed was warm, floating slightly in the air. Alien symbols danced across a screen nearby. He turned his head and saw a silver-skinned alien watching him. You are awake, the alien said gently. His voice echoed through a translator device. Ethan sat up slowly. Did it work? The alien nodded. You saved us. The reactor is stable for now. Ethan breathed out in relief. But then the alien continued. But the damage is deep. Systems are failing. We are still in danger. Ethan stood up, ignoring the pain in his legs. Show me. The alien introduced himself as Tevar, a lead engineer of the station. He explained everything as they walked through the station's long metal corridors. The place felt haunted. Lights flickered, walls creaked, and every few steps Ethan saw another injured alien, burned, limping, or crying silently. Our core is ancient, Tevar explained. Built by the ancients of our race, long before my time. None of us truly understand how it works anymore. We just keep it running. But it's breaking now, Ethan said. Tevar nodded. And if it goes down again this time, we won't survive. They reached a massive control room. Dozens of aliens stood around, speaking in their strange tongue. When Ethan entered, all heads turned. They stared at the human like he was a legend. They're afraid, Tevar said. But they trust you. Ethan looked at the control panels. They were far more advanced than anything on Earth. Floating screens, glowing runes, and strange liquid wires that moved like snakes. He took a deep breath. Show me the core data. A hologram appeared in front of him. The core was shaking again, energy levels rising, cracks spreading. We have 2 hours, Tevar whispered. Maybe less. This is worse than before, Ethan said. I need full access. No limits. Tevar hesitated. Only the High Command can give that. Then take me to them. They entered a tall chamber, shaped like a glowing dome. 7 alien leaders floated above in light chairs, their faces long and wise. They looked down at Ethan with cold eyes. You are the outsider, one of them said. He saved us, Tevar replied. Or delayed our death, another leader said. Why should we give him control of our sacred core? Ethan stepped forward. Because your people will die if you don't. I don't care if you trust me. I only care about fixing the reactor. The council was silent. Then the oldest leader raised his hand. Give him what he needs. If he fails, the universe will forget your name. Soon, Ethan stood before the reactor again. This time, alarms were louder. Blue lightning cracked across the walls. The core pulsed like a beating heart, wild and unstable. If it explodes, Tevar said, this station will tear a hole in space. It may even destroy nearby planets. Ethan nodded. Then we don't fail. He entered the control ring, an area only the ancients had used. Here, symbols changed in real time, floating in midair. He reached out and touched one. It spun, turning red, It's like solving a puzzle blindfolded, he muttered. He worked fast. He started recognizing patterns. Some symbols matched Earth math. Others worked like logic circuits. I need more coolant through the second chamber, he said. Tiver shouted the command in his own language. Aliens ran to activate the pumps. Suddenly, boom! A pipe burst above Ethan. Hot steam sprayed. He screamed and covered his face. The translator fell from his ear and broke. He couldn't hear, but he didn't stop. He kept working. His fingers bled from grabbing hot wires. He connected two glowing orbs. They sparked, burning his palms. He screamed silently but kept going. The core started to spin slower. Just when he thought he had control, a new problem appeared. A second reactor, the backup, was also going critical. You've got to be kidding me, he muttered. He had to link both systems, something no one had ever done. Tiver handed him a tool, something like a crystal key. Ethan jammed it into the main console. The lights flickered. The ground shook. The core screamed. Ethan typed in a final sequence. Numbers flashed red, then yellow, then green. The core stopped spinning. Everything went quiet. Ethan fell backward. The room was still. Then, cheers. Loud, alien cheers. The station's lights turned bright. Energy returned. Tiver rushed to Ethan. You did it again. Ethan, half-conscious, smiled. Someone had to. But deep inside he knew. This wasn't over. He had saved them. For now. But something deeper was wrong with the core. Something ancient. Something hidden. As the aliens lifted him to take him to safety, Ethan whispered, "This place. It's not just broken. It's haunted by the past." He didn't know yet. But what he had just touched was never meant to be repaired by human hands. Something in the core had woken up. The race against time Ethan had stopped the meltdown, twice, but something still felt wrong. The alien reactor was stable, yes, but too quiet, like a volcano after it calms, just before it erupts for real. He lay in the recovery room, bruised, burned, and exhausted. Tiver stood nearby, updating the alien High Council. The elders seemed relieved, but not all of them. One elder stared at the core data and said, "We have not saved it. We have only slowed its death." Tiver turned to Ethan. "We need your help again." Ethan slowly sat up. "Tell me everything. No secrets this time." An hour later, Tiver took Ethan to a hidden level of the station, far below the main deck. It was locked behind layers of energy fields and alien tech. "This place is not on any map," Tiver said. "It was built by the first generation of our kind. Thousands of years ago, they entered a dark chamber lit only by floating crystals. In the center stood a tall black monument, pulsing faintly with red light. Strange symbols glowed on its surface, symbols Ethan had seen once before, in the core control room. "What is this?" Ethan asked. "The Heartstone," Tiver whispered. "It powers the reactor, but it is not from our world." Ethan stepped closer. "Not yours? Where is it from?" "No one knows," Tiver said. "Some say it came from another galaxy. Others believe it's a gift or a curse from something ancient. It gives great power, but it hungers for balance. If disturbed, it fights back." "So the reactor isn't just a machine," Ethan said. "It's alive?" Tiver didn't answer. Ethan touched the surface. In that moment, his vision exploded. He saw flashes of memories, not his own. Images of ancient stars being consumed, planets falling into darkness, voices screaming in unknown tongues, and always in the center, the Heartstone, glowing red like an eye. Then silence. Ethan stumbled back. His nose bled. "It showed you something, didn't it?" Tiver asked quietly. Ethan nodded. "It's warning me." They rushed back to the control room. The core data was changing again. Energy levels were spiking, slowly but steadily. "We have 3 hours," Tiver said. Ethan shook his head. "No, we have less. It's accelerating." He looked at the data. Two separate energy flows, main and backup, were now merging into one. That wasn't supposed to happen. The Heartstone is waking up, Ethan whispered. It's pulling power in, it's going to explode, not because it's broken, but because it wants to. Wants to? Tavar asked. You mean it's choosing to destroy us? Ethan nodded. If we don't stop it, it will not only destroy this station, it could tear open a gateway to something far worse. A new plan formed in Ethan's mind. He couldn't fix the core anymore. He had to disconnect the Heartstone, but that had never been done. Even the ancient builders never removed. It was too dangerous. We'll have to shut down the entire station, Ethan said. Remove every safety lock, break into the stone chamber, and pull it out manually. If we do that, Tavar said, we'll lose gravity, oxygen, life support. Yes, Ethan replied. And if we don't, you'll lose everything. Anyway, the Alien Council argued, afraid, but the station began to shake. Alarms returned. This time, even louder, they gave permission. Ethan suited up again, this time in a full gravity armor built by the aliens. It wrapped around his arms and legs like living metal. Tavar and two other engineers joined him. The path to the Heartstone chamber was full of danger, flames, smoke, and broken corridors. Small explosions shook the walls as they ran. Alien children were crying in the halls. Families huddled together. Everyone was waiting for one human, just one, to save them. No. Pressure, Ethan whispered to himself. They reached the chamber. Energy fields blocked the entrance. Ethan held up a tool the council had given him, a black prism-shaped key. He slid it into a slot. The room lit up red. The Heartstone pulsed harder now, as if it sensed what was coming. It knows we're here, Tavar said. Good, Ethan replied. Let's end this. They used power gloves to remove the outer shell. Layers of protective crystal shattered one by one. Suddenly, the room screamed, not a sound from machines, a real scream, like a living, being in pain. Keep going, Ethan shouted over the noise. They reached the base of the Heartstone. Now came the hard part. They had to separate it from the reactor root, a twisted network of wires, energy veins, and living circuits. Ethan grabbed the main core link and began cutting with a plasma tool. Time slowed. Every second, the Heartstone pulsed brighter. Symbols flew across the air like fireflies. Then, a surge. Light exploded. Tavar was thrown across the room. Ethan fell to his knees, but didn't let go. Come on, let go, he shouted at the core. One final cut. The Heartstone disconnected. Everything went dark. Seconds passed. Then a soft blue light returned. The room was calm. The shaking had stopped. They had done it. The Heartstone now sat in a containment field, no longer connected to the station. Tavar looked at Ethan, his voice full of awe. You did the impossible. Ethan smiled weakly. Not yet. We still need to find out what this thing really is, and why it's been waiting all these years. He looked at the glowing red core, now quiet, but not dead. Somewhere deep inside, it was still pulsing, still watching, still waiting. The Council of Stars, Reactor was safe. The Heartstone was removed. But peace didn't return. It was too quiet. Ethan stood in the observation deck, watching the alien stars spin slowly around the station. Hundreds of alien ships circled at a distance. Different shapes, different species, but none came closer. They were watching, waiting. Tavar walked beside him. News of your actions has spread. Entire star systems are speaking your name. Some call you a hero. Ethan looked at him. And the others? A threat. The next morning, the council summoned Ethan, but not the same council as before. This time, it was the Council of Stars, the oldest and most powerful gathering of alien minds in the known galaxy. They met in the Celestial Chamber, a place few outsiders had ever entered. Tavar guided Ethan into a massive transport pod that moved through glowing tunnels of light. They passed floating cities, star gardens, and sentient crystal creatures humming in harmony. It was beautiful, and strange beyond words. "Remember," Teaver said, "they are not all friends. Some will want to reward you. Others may want to erase you." Ethan gave a tired smile. Just a normal day, then. The celestial chamber was breathtaking. A round hall with no ceiling. Stars shined directly above. Around him floated 20 beings, each the leader of a different race. Some were shaped like plants, others like machines. A few had no form at all, only shifting light and sound. At the center was a floating platform, where Ethan stood alone. "Human," spoke a being of pure blue fire. "You touched the forbidden core." "And stopped its destruction," Ethan replied. A crystal being buzzed. "Or delayed a greater disaster." An ancient voice came from the shadows. "Do you even know what the Heartstone truly is?" Ethan stayed silent. "Then listen," the oldest voice said, "and learn what even your Earth has forgotten." A vision appeared in the sky above them. Millions of years ago, before the first civilizations, there were only keepers of balance, creatures made of thought and energy. They didn't live or die. They drifted across galaxies, keeping light and dark in order. But one of them broke the law. It tried to hold power, to store energy rather than let it flow. The result was the first Heartstone, a living prison created to contain this traitor's essence. But the prison couldn't hold it forever. "The Heartstone you saved," the voice said, "is not just power. It is a piece of a fallen god." Ethan's mouth went dry. "You mean it's alive?" "It is dreaming now," another voice said. "But if it wakes, it may remember who it was. And if it remembers," a cold mechanical voice added, "it may try to finish what it started." The hall went silent. "So why not destroy it?" Ethan asked. The leaders looked at one another. "Because we do not know how," the crystal being said. Later, Ethan sat in a quiet room. No guards, no weapons, just silence. His mind was spinning. He had saved the reactor, but had he unleashed something worse? The door opened. An alien entered. Tall, cloaked, with silver eyes. "You're the human," she said. "And you are?" "My name is Syra. I speak for the observers." "Observers? A secret order. We watch the galaxy's patterns, and we saw you change one." "I didn't want to change anything," Ethan said. "I just didn't want people to die." Syra leaned closer. "And that is exactly why you're dangerous, because you care." Ethan frowned. "Is that a bad thing?" "It's the rarest thing." She gave him a device. It looked like a coin with moving light inside. "This is a key to the archive," she said. "You deserve to know the whole truth. Go there. Find what others won't tell you." Before he could ask more, she was gone. That night, Ethan used the device. A hidden door opened deep within the Council's space station. He followed the path down dark tunnels and came into a vault. Ancient texts floated in air. Holograms showed alien wars, fallen empires, and powerful weapons that could erase stars. But one recording caught his eye. A log, marked with the symbol from the reactor core. He played it. A blurry image of an alien scientist appeared, panicked, breathing hard. "They lied to us. The Heartstone isn't a prison, it's a seed. It doesn't hold the old god. It's growing one." Ethan's chest tightened. Each time it feeds on energy, it grows. Each time someone saves it, they're helping it return. The message ended. Ethan stood frozen. By saving the station, he had helped the seed grow stronger. He rushed back to Tevar and told him everything. Tevar's face turned pale. This changes everything." "We have to warn the Council," Ethan said. But before they could leave, alarms blared. An alien soldier ran in, gasping. "The Heartstone, it's gone!" Ethan's blood ran cold. "Who took it?" The soldier looked down. "No one knows. The vault was sealed. No one entered." Tevar looked at Ethan. Then someone, or something, woke it up. High above the stars, a small dot of red light moved through space. The Heartstone was no longer sleeping. It was searching, and Ethan Gray had just become the only being in the galaxy who could stop it. Galactic test of Trusteth and Gray had saved an alien station, removed a reactor core no one else dared touch, and uncovered a terrifying secret. The Heartstone wasn't a power source. It was a seed of something ancient. And now, it had vanished. The Galactic Council was divided. Some called Ethan a hero. Others whispered that he was a threat, an outsider who had interfered with ancient things. To settle the debate, the Council decided on a test. "You will prove your intentions," said the High Elder. "You will protect a planet, Sam, without using weapons, no armies, no violence, only your mind." Ethan blinked. "You want me to stop a war?" "With words?" "With wisdom," the Elder replied. "If you fail, your planet will be denied galactic entry. Earth will be isolated. If you succeed, you may earn more than just respect." The test was simple in design but impossible in reality. A peaceful farming planet called Nerevai had been targeted by a gang of ruthless pirates known as the Black Shade. They attacked small worlds, stole resources, and erased anyone who resisted. Nerevai had no defense systems, no warships, no trained fighters, and Ethan had 3 days to stop the invasion. He arrived on the planet just as the sun rose behind crystal blue mountains. The fields shimmered with glowing wheat. Alien children laughed in floating gardens. It was paradise, fragile and helpless. The village elders welcomed him with cautious hope. "You are the human?" asked an old plant-like being. Ethan nodded. "You've heard of me?" "Only that you walk with fire in your veins," the elder said. "We hope that fire does not burn us." Ethan smiled softly. "I'm not here to fight. I'm here to make sure no one else has to." His first move: information. He scanned the pirate routes, their ship patterns, and their tech. The Black Shade weren't just thugs. They were organized. They used cloaking fields, signal jammers, and psychological warfare. They want fear more than they want fuel, Ethan said. He visited every farm, learning the layout. He mapped the valleys, the wind currents, the sound of local animals. Not for defense, for distraction. On the second day, Ethan called a village meeting. "We are not going to build weapons," he said. "We're going to build confusion." He split the villagers into teams. Some set up light mirrors across the mountain cliffs. Others scattered reflective crystals across the open plains. A third group hid sound projectors deep underground, recordings of thunder, ship engines, screams, and, in the heart of the village, Ethan set up a fake power core, a decoy glowing bright red. "When they come," Ethan told the villagers, "they'll see a fortress. They'll hear monsters. They'll think they're walking into a trap." "And what if they see through it?" asked one young alien girl. "Then we use our last weapon," Ethan said. "What's that?" "Me." The pirates came on the third night. 6 black ships, cloaked, silent. They hovered above the planet like shadows. Ethan sat on the roof of the village hall waiting, watching the stars twist behind the shimmer of their engines. As they landed, the illusions triggered. Blinding lights bounced off the mirrors, creating ghost images of warships. Sound projectors roared with thunder and explosions. The entire valley became a battlefield of noise and chaos. The pirates panicked. They scanned for weapons, found none. Scanned for soldiers, found hundreds of strange shifting signals. "It's a trap," one pirate shouted. "No life readings are stable." Another cried, "We're being jammed." Their leader, Captain Dravex, wasn't fooled. He turned off. "The scans. Show me the real village." A small group of pirates landed. They stepped into the silent square. One figure stood waiting, Ethan, unarmed. Dravex aimed a laser blade at him. "You did this?" "Yes," Ethan said calmly. "But not to fight you. You think tricks and lights can scare us?" Ethan smiled. "I think fear already lives in your heart. I just gave it a mirror." Dravex growled. "We'll burn this place to the ground." "Maybe," Ethan said. "But before you do, look up." The pirate glanced up. Hundreds of ships hung silently in the sky. Not alien fleets, not warships, not council observers. They were watching, Recording, judging. Your crew is about to be known across every star system, Ethan said. Not as fighters, but as fools, as cowards, scared of a human and a field of lights. You think, we care about reputation? Dravek snarled. I think you care about profit, and there's none here now. Only attention, only shame. Dravex paused. His crew looked nervous. Finally, the pirate captain turned away. You're lucky, human, he muttered. This time, no, Ethan said. They're lucky, and so are you. The pirates left. No blood spilled, no war, just silence and survival. When the council reviewed the footage, even the harshest elders sat in silence. One of them, who had voted against Earth's membership, stood slowly. We tested him to see if he could win without violence. Instead, he taught us a better kind of power. Teaver smiled beside Ethan. You passed. But Ethan wasn't smiling. They'll be back, he said. Not those pirates, but others. Bigger, stronger. Then we'll fight again, Teaver said. Ethan shook his head. No, we need to stop reacting. We need to understand the real enemy. Teaver frowned. The Heartstone? No, Ethan said softly. What's inside it? Because somewhere out beyond the stars that red light was still growing, and next time there might not be a test. Only war. The human problem, the council had celebrated him. The villagers loved him. Even alien leaders had started calling him the human flame, a symbol of hope across the stars. But when something threatens the balance of power, hope becomes danger, and heroes become problems. That's what Ethan Gray had become now. A problem. It began the night after the test. Ethan was invited to a private meeting on a neutral council ship, a floating palace of light and logic orbiting the twin suns of the Urian sector. He expected a debriefing. Instead, he was arrested. By order of the High Tribunal, the officer said coldly, You are to be detained and tried for high galactic treason. Ethan stared, stunned. What? Treason? What are you talking about? They didn't answer. They bound him in zero-gravity cuffs and dragged him through the corridors. Aliens he had just earned the trust of now turned their eyes away. Some looked angry, others looked afraid. Teaver tried to stop them. There must be a mistake. He just saved... Silence, the officer snapped. You may speak at trial. Ethan was thrown into a deep energy cell beneath the tribunal chamber. A room with no doors, no furniture, no windows, just a field of red light that burned gently if he touched it. He sat alone for hours, no food, no water. Only one repeating thought. What did they do to me? Finally, a shadow appeared beyond the field. A new face. Tall, thin, elegant. A member of the Quarren, one of the most powerful and secretive races on the council. Ethan Gray, the being said, You are accused of unleashing a cosmic threat. The Heartstone was secure before you arrived. Now it is missing. Its energy readings are active again. Ethan stood. I didn't take it, I warned you. The Heartstone is alive, growing. Someone else woke it. We have footage, the Quarren said, of you entering the vault before the breach. No one else, only you. Ethan's heart sank. The device Syra had given him. The one that opened the secret archive. Someone had used that to set him up. This is a setup, Ethan said. You know it. The Quarren looked at him through eyes like black mirrors. You're a human, he said. You don't understand how deep this goes. Ethan sat in silence for days. No trial, no lawyer, no news, just guilt and rage. He thought of Earth. Would they be told he failed? He thought of the people on Neravai. Would they be safe if he disappeared? And most of all, he thought of the Heartstone. Somewhere out there, it was moving again. And no one was watching. On the fourth day, a whisper broke the silence. A voice came through the wall, through a small static crack in the energy field. Ethan? His eyes lit up. Tever? No time, Tever whispered. You were right. Someone inside the council wanted you out of the way. We found a fragment, a surveillance shard. It recorded something. Before the breach. What? Ethan asked. A cloaked figure. Non-human. They entered the chamber an hour before you did. They used a forged version of your access key. Ethan gritted his teeth. Who? We traced the device back to a council technician. Connected. To High Elder Vonak. Ethan froze. Vonak. The same elder who had voted against him in every meeting. The one who warned the others that humans were too chaotic to be trusted with galactic secrets. They're going to use the Heartstone, Ethan whispered. They want it to wake up. And blame it on me. With help from Tever and Syrah, who had returned from deep space with her fellow observers, Ethan staged a prison break. Not with violence, with code. Syrah hacked the station's AI security core, making it believe Ethan was being transferred to trial. Tever embedded a false clearance in the door sequence, and Ethan, he simply waited. When the moment came, he walked out of his cell unnoticed, wearing the uniform of a tribunal guard. But he didn't run. He went deeper, into the forbidden data chambers of the tribunal. There, he found it. A project called Return Protocol Alpha. Documents, simulations, and worse, a prototype ship, powered by a modified Heartstone core. They're trying to control it, Ethan said in horror. Turn it into a weapon. But something in the files caught his eye. The ship was already active, and its destination, Earth. They're not just framing me, Ethan realized. They're using my planet as bait. They want to trigger the Heartstone's full awakening near a human world, so they can justify destroying both. Tever looked shaken. This isn't just politics, this is extinction planning. We have to stop that ship, Ethan said. Syrah nodded. I know where it's going, but we'll be outnumbered. Outgunned. Then we use what they fear most, Ethan said. Truth. The trio fled the tribunal chamber with the stolen data, dodging patrol ships and security scans. They reached Syrah's cloaked vessel, the Silent Veil, and jumped to hyperspace. As the stars stretched, Ethan stared at the data crystal in his hand. Not just proof of his innocence, proof of a galactic betrayal that could kill billions. And worse, in the ship's energy readings, Ethan saw something new. A signal buried beneath the power spikes. Not numbers, not coordinates, a voice, soft, cold. I remember. The Heartstone wasn't just waking up, it was becoming aware, and it remembered everything. The honor of the galaxy space stretched around them like an endless sea. Inside the Silent Veil, Ethan stared at the data crystal again and again. It was all there. The proof. That High Elder Vonak and others in the council had used the Heartstone, twisted it, modified it, and aimed it toward Earth. Not just to test its power, but to frame Ethan, erase his planet, and declare full control over Heartstone technology. They're calling it a test run, Syrah said, her voice cold. A controlled awakening. But we both know what's inside that stone isn't controllable. Ethan nodded. And now it remembers. It's not just alive, it's intelligent and angry. They arrived in Earth's orbit just as the Heartstone ship entered the system. Sleek, silent, and pulsing red like a beating heart, it hovered near the moon. Strange waves of energy rippled from its core, bending gravity, stirring static in the atmosphere. On Earth, skies turned violet. Storms formed above oceans. Satellites blinked and died. And then, a signal. One word, repeated across every human frequency. Reclaim. Ethan sent an emergency broadcast to the Galactic Council. Not just a warning, a challenge. I have proof. You tried to weaponize a god. You tried to erase me. Erase my world. But now we all face something bigger than politics. You wanted to test humanity? Then watch what happens when we fight to survive. The broadcast went everywhere. To every planet. Every race. Every hidden resistance cell. The truth spread faster than the council expected, and people, even alien governments, began to turn. Inside the Heartstone ship, things got worse. The being inside the stone had fully awakened. Ethan saw it through intercepted footage, Vonak, standing on the control deck, eyes wide in horror as red light consumed the walls. "It's not listening," he whispered. The walls responded with a voice that was many voices layered together. "I was bound in silence. You fed me freedom. Now you will feed me everything." The ship changed. Metal turned to crystal. Floors became unstable, floating in pieces. Machines began growing like vines, and from the core, a shape was forming. Humanoid, tall, and made entirely of burning red energy. Not a god, a memory of one. Ethan knew he had to act. He and Tivar boarded the Silent Veil and set a collision course with the Heartstone ship. "We don't need to destroy it," Ethan said. "We need to reach what's left of its mind. If there's even a piece of reason left in it." Syra interrupted. "You're going to talk to it?" "No," Ethan said. "I'm going to remind it." They breached the ship through a crumbling energy gate. Inside, chaos. Council guards were dead. Walls twisted with red roots of energy. And in the core room, the Heartstone entity floated. No longer a crystal, but a being of pure will and memory. Ethan stepped forward. "You remember me?" he said. The being turned. "You are the first to touch me and not fear. Why? Because fear doesn't save anyone. It just delays the truth." The being pulsed. "Truth. I was broken, used, forgotten. They rewrote my purpose. You slowed me. You saw me." "Then see this," Ethan said, pulling out the data crystal. A projection filled the chamber, showing the Council's betrayal, their plan, their lies. "They used you to start a war, but I don't want war. I want peace." The being stared, unmoving. Ethan took a breath. "You weren't made to destroy, you were made to balance, to keep light and dark from tearing the stars apart. If you kill now, you become them." A long pause. Then, light. The red glow faded slightly. "Balance," it whispered. "Forgotten, but remembered now." The ship began to break apart. Slowly, gently. "What are you doing?" Tever shouted. "Giving back the fire I took." "Not all. Just enough to let you stand again." A small piece of the Heartstone separated, floating toward Ethan, blue instead of red. "This belongs to you now. Not as a weapon, as a warning, and a gift." Then the being collapsed inward, light folding into itself. The ship vanished in a silent implosion. Ethan woke up in orbit, floating in the Silent Veil. The war had not happened. Earth was safe, the Council, now exposed, and was being dissolved. Leaders like Vonak were arrested. Trials would begin, but more importantly, a new coalition was forming, and at the center of the first meeting stood Ethan. He was offered many things: power, titles, even control over the remains of the Heartstone. He refused them all. Instead, he asked for one thing: make Earth part of the Galactic Union. Not because I saved a station or tricked pirates or talked to a living god, but because we're ready to be more than survivors. We're ready to be citizens of the stars. And they granted it. That night, Ethan stood alone, looking up at the stars from the roof of a council building on a moon city. Tivar joined him, handing him a small device. "What's this?" Ethan asked. "A communicator," Tivar said. "For the next time someone calls for help. Because they will." Ethan looked at the stars. "Then we'll answer." And far away, in the cold of space, the last whisper of the Heartstone drifted. Through the void, watcher, chosen, human. The galaxy was forever changed, and it had begun, with one man who refused to walk away. The end.